Hello, everyone. Welcome to a sort of remake of a video I made last summer. So, I made a Star Wars ranking last summer, and needless to say, it was kind of controversial for the people that saw it, at least. Uh, but that list was not an objective list based off of the quality of the movies, it was based purely on my enjoyment of the movies. This one is going to be a little different. I'm going to be taking into account the quality of the movie and sort of focusing on that, but bonus points will be scored if I enjoy it a lot. So yeah, this just consider this my definitive Star Wars ranking, I guess. So yeah, 11 movies. I'm not doing it in a tier list this time. I made a PowerPoint for this because probably the best I could do since I still don't really know how to edit videos at all. Um, so yeah, let's just get started. In last place at number 11, just like with the previous Star Wars video, is Attack of the Clones. Now, I don't hate this movie. There is some good stuff about it. Um, really, the only great thing about this movie is Geonosis. Like, most of the stuff that happened there was really good. And Camino was pretty cool too, I guess. But outside of that, this movie is not good at all. Um, the whole Anakin and Padme romance subplot is one of the worst things to be in any Star Wars movie, and I hate it. Um, there's just, and the rest of it is just boring. Um, yeah, this was last place on my enjoyability list, and it's down near the bottom in terms of the quality of the movie too. That's why it's in last place. Like I said, I don't hate this movie. I don't think it's like an awful movie. I'd probably give it like a 4 to 5 out of 10. Um, so yeah. Not much more to say about this one. It's just not good. Um, on to number 10 is The Phantom Menace. It's a little better than Attack of the Clones. Um, it's mostly just it just has more redeeming qualities about it and less terrible stuff. Now it has Jar Jar, which is like Jar Jar is in this movie a lot, which is probably why it's this far down. Remove Jar Jar and it'd probably go up at least one spot, maybe even a few spots. Um, Kid Anakin isn't the worst here. I honestly prefer him in this movie than in Attack of the Clones, but I don't like him at all here either. Um, now I'm actually more positive towards the politics stuff because I think the like politics makes up a core part of the whole franchise. And then the good stuff. Qui Gon is one of the best Star Wars characters. Is basically embodies what it means to be a good Jedi. And Maul is my favorite Star Wars character. Period. Or at least favorite canon Star Wars character. If we go into Legends, then it's different. But yeah, though Maul being my favorite character has not much to do with this movie and everything to do with the Clone Wars. But still, the fight at the end of this movie is in my opinion the second best duel in all of Star Wars, and the other action is okay enough, I guess. Yeah, there's plenty of this movie that's completely boring though, and again, Jar Jar completely ruins quite a few scenes. But yeah, definitely a good improvement over Attack of the Clones, but uh, nowhere near the best of the prequels. You can probably already guess where episode 3 is, but we'll talk about that when we get there. Number 9, The Rise of Skywalker. So, on my last Star Wars ranking video, this is in second place, and that still stands. I still have a ton of fun watching this movie. I just find it to be super enjoyable and a fun ride. But from a filmmaking standpoint, it is not very good. Now, um, when I like started formulating the list, before I put together this PowerPoint stuff, I originally had this one spot higher, but then I rewatched three Star Wars three movies, which is this one and the one that I switched it with, and another one that we'll see higher up. And the one that I switched it with got a little better, and this one got a little worse. So, yeah. Let's talk about it. So, this movie, kind of like this trilogy, has some very high highs and some very low lows. Um, Almost everything to do with Palpatine in this movie is awesome. I I really don't hate that he's back. I'm not a huge fan of it. I really think they could have done something better, but I don't hate it either. And he was just awesome in this movie in general. Um, I do wish they kept like Rey's parents as like a nobody rather than making her related to Palpatine. I just found that kind of dumb. There's a lot of things in The Last Jedi that weren't used in this movie. Um, Honestly, there's a lot of stuff throughout the whole trilogy that wasn't used in later installments. Which, yeah, this trilogy just wasn't planned, which is unfortunate, but I still like the trilogy nonetheless. Um, Lando's cool. I like the new character who's possibly his daughter. Kylo Ren is still the best character of this trilogy. Um, I like that we got some backstory on Poe. Um, Finn is kind of useless in this movie. He didn't do anything. Um, yeah, the action is mostly really good. There is not really much time in this movie at all where I'm bored. This is definitely not a boring movie to me. Um, but yeah, um, I don't really have anything else to say about this. Let's move on. Number 8, The Last Jedi. I originally had this below The Rise of Skywalker, but then I rewatched these two and The Force Awakens, and I decided to switch them. Um, yeah, The Last Jedi is kind of the definition of a flawed masterpiece. There are so many problems with this movie that hold it back from actually being good. But if the whole movie was like this movie's high points, then it would be in number 1 or maybe number 2. Um, the high points of this movie are like like incredibly high. So yeah, let's start talking about specifics. Um, Start with the pros. Luke Skywalker. I liked how he was handled in this movie. I know that's a very controversial thing to say, but I think they did a good job with him. Um, Everything of Kylo Ren is cool. Snoke's cool. Rey was decent enough. Poe was decent. Finn was better in The Force Awakens, but he was still decent here. Um, Phasma was kind of wasted, though. I wish they kept that deleted scene with her troops turning on her after Finn said some stuff. Yeah, I wish they kept that scene because then, just would have enhanced Phasma a little bit. And yeah. But where this movie's true strength lies is in the stuff outside of the writing. This is the best looking Star Wars movie, and just from a cinematography and visual standpoint, it is top tier. Um, the music's pretty good too, I guess. Um, Definitely better than The Rise of Skywalker's music. The Rise of Skywalker, despite me thinking the movie isn't too bad overall, has easily the worst music of the franchise, but this one has pretty decent music. Now with the bad. Rose could have definitely been a lot better. Um, she was just she. Here's how I would fix Rose. Now if you watched Shea Farrell's Productions video about this movie, then you already would have heard this, but I completely agree with him in that Poe should have sacrificed himself without Rose stopping him, and then Rose should have been like replaced Finn as part of the trio in The Rise of Skywalker and be used more there. But that didn't happen, and Rose is kind of wasted and never used in the next movie. Holdo also could have been executed better, but I don't really know how. Yeah, what a waste of Laura Dern. She is a great actress, but Holdo was not a good character. Although the Lightspeed Ram was really cool and one of my favorite scenes in the whole franchise, so that does make up for it a little bit. Easily the worst part of this movie, in my opinion, one of the worst things to happen in all of these movies is Cantonica. I hate almost everything that happens there. The only part that I don't like really hate is the whole chase on the horses. I think that was pretty cool. But yeah, it's just useless. And whenever I watch this movie, I just want to fast forward through it. Speaking of fast forwarding, whenever that DJ guy is on screen, I just want to skip past every scene he's in because I hate him. In my opinion, he is easily the worst of the new characters introduced in this movie, and one of the worst Star Wars characters in general. Like bottom three Star Wars characters for me. Um, he's just annoying and kind of useless and just awful. Another waste of a good actor too. Yeah. I suppose that's all I have to say about this movie. Moving on. Number 7, Solo: A Star Wars Story. This movie did not deserve to be a flop at all. This movie was pretty good. I think I don't know how to pronounce his name. I think it's Alden Ehrenreich. Yeah, I think that's it. I think he did a very good job of filling Harrison Ford's shoes for the role of Han Solo. He just does so well at playing young Han. I don't really know what else to say about that. Donald Glover does a great job as Lando. Um, Seeing how Han and Chewbacca met was nice. Woody Harrelson's character is really cool. The visuals of this movie are nice, and so is the action. The story is decent enough. I haven't rewatched this movie in a while though, which is why I'm not really spending much time in it and not going too in depth. I would have loved to see this movie made into a trilogy though, and see what happens and how Maul loses control of Crimson Dawn. Maybe it's just an excuse to see more Darth Maul because I love him so much, but yeah, it's unfortunate that this movie performed so well. If this movie came out in December of 2018, I'm sure it would have done a lot better because by then The Last Jedi hate had kind of fizzled out a little. But yeah. Moving on. Number 6, A New Hope, the original Star Wars. Now, this is absolutely a classic movie and it'll always be a classic movie, and it should be beloved as a classic movie. But I do have a few problems with it. Now, this is a product of the times and the relatively low budget, but I do not like the visuals of this movie too much. They were groundbreaking for the time, yes, but nowadays they just don't hold up. There was a significant improvement in the visuals for The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Also, there was some missed opportunities for the music. Now, this is the most iconic film score of all time, and it is a great score, but there were some scenes that there should have been music in that there wasn't music in. The acting's also not too good either. It's not like Attack of the Clones level bad acting, but it's definitely not too good either. Um, but it's a classic for a reason. It's got a great story with great characters. And it's groundbreaking for its time, even though the visuals don't hold up today. It's the classic Star Wars. There's not much more to say about it. Moving on. Number 5. This movie is quite similar to this one, but I honestly like it more. It's The Force Awakens. Now, when it comes to the story, this movie is pretty similar to A New Hope. Not a complete retread, like some people say, but it definitely feels quite similar. Um, so and I'm not going to take away points from it for almost copying A New Hope. I just don't think that warrants taking away points from it. Um, and the reason I have it above A New Hope is because of the not groundbreaking, but excellent visuals. Excellent visuals. In my opinion, it's got better music than A New Hope. I really like the new themes composed for this movie, like Kylo Ren's theme, Rey's theme, March of the Resistance. Um, the new characters aren't all as good as A New Hope's characters, like except for Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren's awesome, but Rey and Finn, I guess, are good enough in this movie. They don't get any better though. In fact, Finn gets almost nothing to do in The Rise of Skywalker. Um, Han, I really liked Han in this movie. In fact, this actually might be my favorite, like my favorite performance, I guess, or just use of Han Solo. His death scene is, in my opinion, the most emotional death scene in all 11 of these movies. Um, there's just so much awesome stuff in this movie. Of course, it's got some drawbacks too, but overall, this movie is great, and I love it. But not as great as number 4, Rogue One. This movie is very close to being perfect. Um, the fact this I think this movie would be perfect if it weren't for some of the weird like cutting and editing choices that they did. But outside of that, this movie is absolutely incredible. Um, K2SO is my favorite Star Wars story by a mile. Jyn Erso isn't the most interesting character, but the supporting characters are very strong. Uh, Cassian Andor is a great character and becomes even better after you watch Andor, which I'm only halfway through Andor, so so I can't like go too in depth there, but I know it's one of the best things that happened to Star Wars. Um, the I am one of the Force guy is cool, and so is his. I forgot his name, but the other guy that has like that crazy gun. Um, um, seeing, I forgot his name. The guy that's like above the Star Destroyer, below K2SO in this poster here. I forgot his name. I almost always remember this guy's name, and I'm just blanking on it right now. Whatever, that guy, he's cool. Um, the action's nice. The music's good. I mean, it's the same composer as the Jurassic World trilogy. Of course, it's gonna be good music. Um, the hallway scene is one of the best scenes in the entire franchise, and no one will change my mind. Um, yeah, this movie is just almost perfect. Yeah, moving on. The next three are equally perfect and equally incredible, so I am ordering them based on my personal preference and enjoyability. Which means that number 3 is The Empire Strikes Back. Most people have this at number 1. When it comes to just sheer enjoyability, I had this at number 6, right in the middle. But but when it comes to objective filmmaking, this is tied for the top. And yeah, it's just awesome. It has the greatest twist reveal in cinema history. Um, it expands on pretty much everything from the first movie. Um, the Hoth sequence is awesome. The duel is not the best, but it's still a good duel. Lando's cool, I guess. Han and Leia stuff is much better than the main romances of the other two trilogies. Um, yeah, this movie is great. Yoda's nice, although I do prefer prequel Yoda over original Yoda. Yeah, I said it, get mad. Seeing the Emperor for the first time is nice, I guess. Or at least that is if you watched it in the release order. The visuals are a massive step up from A New Hope. Like you thought you're like I'm sure people in 1977 were blown away by A New Hope's visuals. In 1980, they must have just been absolutely astounded by this because the visuals are so much better, and they just get better with Return of the Jedi, which we'll get to in a minute. Um, yeah, this movie's awesome, and there's no denying it. Number 2, Return of the Jedi. Um, this is just what can you say about this movie except it's freaking amazing. Um, the duel at the end is easily the best of the original trilogy, in my opinion. Everything surrounding Luke and Vader is incredible. The Emperor is awesome. The Jabba stuff is, I guess, interesting enough. It does lead to a good action sequence. Plus, you get to see Luke be an absolute badass. The Ewok stuff, I honestly don't get the hate behind the Ewoks. Um, like people say they were destroying the Empire completely, but that's not true. They were actually losing to the Empire until Chewbacca commandeered that walker. Um, the love between Han and Leia is built on more. Um, this is my favorite performance of Luke Skywalker. Second being The Last Jedi. Yeah, this movie is just incredible. The visuals in this movie are tip top, especially for the time. Easily the best of the trilogy, although of course not as good as the other two trilogies. But for 1983, this is incredible. Um, yeah, this movie is just awesome, and I love it a lot. But coming in at number one, I'm sure you guys could have predicted this based on my last list. It's Revenge of the Sith by far. Um, this has been for a while and will always be my number one Star Wars movie. From the absolutely awe inspiring music to the best duel in all of Star Wars to incredible action sequences outside of that duel to amazing characters um, to just great storytelling to big reveals. Just everything in this movie is perfect. I'm not going to talk about the dialogue. Yes, it could have been better, but I really don't care. Revenge of the Sith is it's just the go-to Star Wars movie for me. Whenever I sit down and decide I want to watch a Star Wars thing, it's going to be Revenge of the Sith most of the time. It's simply phenomenal. I don't have anything else to say about this movie besides the fact that it is just amazing. Yeah. So that ends off the ranking. Hope you guys enjoyed. I guess let me know what you think. Just don't be toxic about it like most Star Wars fans are. And I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.